This is going to be, I don't know if it'll be a true session. It is kind of an interlude a bit to determine some things with this current situation. Last episode, a ship was acquired by force in the broad sense. In the more specific sense, a few of our, let's call them protagonists, boarded a pirate vessel after relentlessly beating it with murder servitors and fire for about 2.5 hours of real life time, which equates to almost 4 to 6 hours, I think, of in-game time for the ship combat, which is pretty brutal. Nonetheless, they did board and spoke with some mutineers. Mutineers began to direct them through the ship. They encountered some difficulties along the way, which were overcome with the assistance of a new ally, a tech priest named Umbria, being played by Matihi. Eventually, they were able to find schematics on the ship. They teleported out, prepared a boarding party, and went directly for the head of the snake on the bridge. After a short but brutal firefight, in which the opposing captain Jeremus was unceremoniously torn to pieces in one round, and which culminated in a close-up viewing of the warp through Aeneas's third navigator eye power, melted the skulls of all those that remained on the bridge. They have gained control of the bridge of the ship. This session is mainly going to be kind of determining how they're going to go about fully gaining control, determining what they do next, and handling RP in regards to the other derelict and what their next course of action will be. So current situation, those who will be joining us tonight is going to be Raven as Achilles, and Sim as Asterius, and of course Matihi as Umbria. The others are not able to participate tonight. They are all back on board the ship in character, and the three of you are kind of left on the bridge here to determine the next move. So I will let you all take it away.
Okay, so we need a hearts and minds program here.
So to kind of give you an idea of the situation, I mean, you have taken the bridge. You have complete access to it now. This crew has been heavily battered. You're not sure how many men are left on board or what the extent of the damage is, but there are obviously quite a few still left. Frigates are rather large vessels with hundreds of thousands of crew, or at least tens of thousands. You killed a lot, I'll be honest, but there's still quite a few left who are probably unsure of what's transpired. So right now it's not fully in your control.
And Umbria looks to Lord Achilles. Lord Thorne, would you like me to attempt to patch you through to the rest of the crew of the ship?
Yes, exactly. Try and see if we can swing them to our side.
I can do that. And Umbria will look for some sort of maybe communications relay that'll be able to, so she can patch in and have Achilles' voice kind of heard throughout the ship.
If you guys could go to this chair up here, call it the captain's chair, and there is a Vox that is there that can be manipulated to do a full ship broadcast.
And Umbria will
commonplace tech.
And Umbria will look to Lord Thorne and actually kind of... And is it a swivel chair or is it just stationary?
Oh, it's got to be a swivel chair.
So she'll actually take hold of the back of the chair and turn it to him, and gesture a hand out for him to sit.
And so Achilles does so.
And she'll let it go, letting it turn back around, and she'll start to patch him through. kind of the main speakers. Or...
And so once she gets communications established to the rest of the ship, Achilles will... Crewman, you fought well. The battle is done. Stand down. There's no need for any more loss of life.
That sounds like a charm. Do you have... let's see. I'd roll charm, obviously apply any benefits that you think apply based on talents or anything like that.
These guys probably don't care about a lot of his stuff, but I think maybe Pure Underworld might apply.
Sure. Could work that into your speech, perhaps. Oh man.
Oh no.
So you certainly have options to re-roll that. I think everybody can replenish their fate points because technically this does count as another session, so you can all replenish fate.
Yeah, well, we probably ought to fate that one.
All right.
Fate point. See if I can roll any worse than 100.
That's much better.
Yeah, that looks better.
Much better. That's a
Damn.
lot of success. That's like just shy of 7 degrees. So these are set to receive return communications, obviously, and it's silent for some time, but then calls start to come in. They just kind of sound off from where they're at. Crew quarters, laying down arms. Engine room, laying down arms. Weapons crew, laying down arms, depowering macro cannons. And just kind of go down a list of many major components of the ship.
Okay, and so Achilles will summon, some sort of leader types from the various departments. We need Zephyr here to make everybody take some awful frightening oath.
So you summon several various department heads, those that are still alive.
Well, and a few people get field promotions.
Yeah, promotions. So
It's like, a promotion for you and a promotion for you.
Yeah, it looks like you're in charge now. So yeah, several of them come on board, come up to the bridge, sidearms holstered. Vorkul was already here. Various department heads approach and kind of appraise you, but stand at attention, waiting to see what you say.
Nice.
Do you have something to say, Zim?
No, as this seem nice. But I could address them first if you want.
Sure.
You stand before Lord Thorne, you will show him the same respect that you would show your previous captain. You'll be a better leader. Double cross us, and will be twice as merciless. Now with that, you'll kind of step back so they can see Lord Thorne.
They all kind of look at each other. Anybody who wants to can make any kind of relevant scrutiny or scrutiny test if they have it. Even if it's untrained, if you want to.
Sure.
So it's gonna be like that, huh?
Mhm.
We
Yeah.
them all.
They just look at each other and then kind of look back at Lord Thorne, waiting to be addressed.
Achilles stands. I am Achilles Thorne, rogue trader. You men are now in service of House Thorne. He kind of looks him over to see if anybody looks like they have any objection to that.
Stand there, and one of them in the side. What's the pay, my lord?
Achilles smiles. Substantially more than your last captain, I assure you.
Works for me. He takes a knee.
Achilles looks at Umbria. So, Tech Priest, do you believe you can get this rabble to rebuild the ship?
I am sure I can direct them to completing the repairs to this ship, Lord Thorne. And Umbria will gaze over the kind of the heads of the departments, kind of seeing if she recognizes any of them.
You can make a awareness.
Okay. Ugh. Nope.
Nah, none of these guys look familiar. It's possible they were different department heads in the last 6 hours, but these are the new department heads now.
And she looks them over. I will need to find which crew members can assist in moving things, repairing things, those who wish to, or will, venture outside the ship. Possibly. Many fires need to be put out.
Achilles looks at the assembled crewmen. Which of you knows the crew best?
They all look around, and all of them pretty much step forward at the same time. And then they all
Achilles
stare at
laughs.
each other.
Achilles kind of laughs at that. He looks him over again and says, all right, which one of you is the ugliest, most inbred son of a voidsman in the bunch?
And they all look at each other confused for a moment, and all slowly begin to step back, save one.
Excellent. You, come here.
Yes, my lord.
Go with Umbria here. See to it she has whatever she needs.
Understood. Okay. Waits to see where she goes.
And she's going to kind of look them up and down. Do you have proper leadership capabilities to lead your men?
Yeah, they listen to me most of the time.
Most?
Well, kind of scratches his head.
I don't accept anything short of perfection.
And from the side, Orkul steps up. I can get them to listen, as long as I can use my own methods.
And Umbria will look over to him, slowly blink. And do I want to know what these methods are?
Nothing that the average soldier shouldn't expect. This place lacks discipline.
I expect you to keep them in line. Well, cool.
It'll get done.
Achilles looks at Vorkul and says, and make sure we keep enough of them to buy the ship.
Decimation shouldn't be necessary unless they're particularly rowdy.
Achilles nods. Very well.
And Umbria turns and bows to Achilles. Lord Thorne, I shall get this ship up to running speed for you.
Excellent. He sort of gives her a nod.
She rises back up and motions to Vorkul to follow. Let us identify the most damaged places and start repairs immediately.
And so Achilles looks at Asterius. So, Asterius, once we have this ship ready, we need to get the Navy back their vessel.
I'm sure they would like their vessel back, and it would surely curry us some favor.
Exactly.
However, the ship is worth a lot. I'm sure the equipment inside is worth a lot. And the ship could be useful. I suggest that we look at all our options before we decide to just hand it back.
Achilles sort of slowly nods at that. Very well.
Free equipment is free equipment after all.
True. If we stripped everything we wanted off of it now and left, the blame would fall to the pirates.
Exactly.
Of course, I guess we could strip most of what we want off of it and then give what's left back to the Navy, and the blame still falls to the pirates.
Yes, and that would also carry us some favor as well. Although I don't know how much favor we need with them.
Achilles actually gives Asterius a wink. Never hurts to have friends in high places, friend.
That is true indeed. Perhaps once we're finished here dispatching the crew over to give us our interested equipment. One that may be disposable if we don't want the loose lips sinking the ship.
True.
After all, we're gonna tell them the pirates did it. We don't need any other stories going out.
Exactly. So, Ghost,
Mm-hmm.
can Asterius and Achilles scan the Navy ship or something, see what maybe is left of it?
Yeah, you can do, I believe there's a method called like an active augury that can provide you with information. Let me go ahead and take a look at what that entails. Also, to kind of give an idea for the repair process, so let me see here. Active augury. Yeah, so there's an active augury thing you can do. It's a scrutiny plus detection test to scan. Usually it's the area surrounding the ship, but it can give important and basic information about ships within 20 void units. So you can do that as an option. But for the repairs, so as far as repairs are concerned, so for repairs out here, you would need to find a suitable anchorage point, so like an asteroid or something to kind of anchor yourself for some time. And then whoever it is directing the crew needs to make a tech use test.
Okay.
The ship can only regain up to 1d5 points of hull integrity. And this takes, I believe this process takes, each test is a week long, so you'd have to be here for a week if you were going to get it done here.
Okay. So, how much damage did we do to this thing?
A lot. So, I'll go ahead and bring it up here since it is in your possession at this point. Second. So this thing is called the Rusty Frigate, and I'm going to go ahead and reveal. I have a picture of the crew there in that slot. I'm going to take them out, even though they are still there, and I'm going to reveal that to everybody, so you can take a look at it. All the information should be on the ship page as to what it has, the damage that has been done.
Oh boy.
But to give you an idea, this thing has, let's see, I'll go back out to the main page. I don't think I updated on the sheet. So if I'm looking at the space battle location we looked at, you guys did 17 points of hull damage to this thing. So it's at 21 out of 38 hull. So you almost put it below half of its hull. And for crew, because I believe I was keeping track of crew and morale, they weren't pleased. Morale, so they're at 23 morale, which is horrendous. It's out of 100, and they're at 68 crew. So you killed 32% of the crew, and morale was fucking horrible. It is, if we're looking at how morale has an impact on crew, and we'll say in character, this is just kind of from taking stock and, you know, Umbria's interactions with the crew. They're pretty pissed off. Crew morale, if we're looking at the chart for it, and there's a chart available, the ship may no longer perform, so they're at 23, so they're suffering penalties to maneuverability, command test, ballistic skill, and just they're on the cusp of essentially just desertion if this ship were to be any worse. So they are very pissed off, and their numbers were reduced quite heavily, and their travel time is even going to increase due to the lack of crew on board. So this thing, you did a number on this thing.
So moving forward, we need to figure out how to mission kill an enemy ship without doing so much damage to it.
I think that's the key piece of the puzzle to everybody's enigma.
Okay, so for RP purposes, Achilles and Asterius are looking it over on the scanners here as we look at the ship sheet.
Mm-hmm. So you said you're going to use the ship scanners? Yeah?
Yeah, well, I figured that's how we're cleaning the information that we just got looking at the character sheet for the ship.
Yeah. No, it's just I would say reviewing you know, over the course of being involved with the ship here on board, if you're going to proceed with repairs and over the course of repairs. If not, then just kind of being on board here, having Umbria kind of walk around. That's kind of how you guys have appraised the information. Also, active scanners. You guys did quite a bit of damage to this thing. Also, there are still fires on this ship, so if you want to get those put out...
yeah, that's the first order
Oh yeah,
of
well
business.
that'd be a priority.
Yeah, it's like the
Yeah, you
first
can-
thing.
You can certainly make a command test. Now, it is your ship, so I got to apply the new morale. So it's at a -10. Because they're not very happy. But this will get all the fires out if it succeeds.
So who's ordering them to do this? Is it Achilles or
Whoever
Umbria?
wants to. Whoever wants to. If it's Umbria doing it, if it's Kilius, just let me know who's rolling.
Umbria will actually look at Achilles. Lord Thorne, I can easily direct these men to the repairs, but in terms of leadership, that is not a strong suit of mine.
Yes, I understand. Achilles will get on the Vox again and give orders to the damage control crew to put out the fires. Let's see, Air of Authority doesn't really seem to apply. And so I guess a command test?
Yes, sir. -10.
Ooh. My goodness. Oof. I'm gonna take that.
If anybody else has command, you can definitely try to assist. Or if, I don't know that you have to have the skill to assist, but
Yeah, honestly, I don't got a skill for it, but I'm at 27.
Better than me.
oh shit. Let me see. Let me see if you even need to have the skill to do it.
Are you gonna make it worse though?
I mean, I could barter them.
I mean,
If you guys put the fire out, you get raises. No, I think you have to have the skill to actually assist on it. So, you can let that sit, or you.
Well, fade it. Yeah.
That's tough.
come on, boss. Oh, I see. Oh! Oh my god!
So,
I didn't roll 200s on percentage dice if I tried.
Oh!
So, that's bad. So I'll tell you this. So eventually you are able to put the fires out. But not before they do even more damage both to crew and integrity of the ship. So another 3 full points of integrity are going to be taken off from additional damage. So it's at 18 whole integrity now. I will say... another 4 crew and 5 morale decrease from the nature of this.
Oh
They
my god.
eventually the fires do go out, but it is at great cost to crew and morale.
Well, maybe what I ought to do is get Umbria and Asterius on the bridge and just space everybody else. Put the fires out in the vacuum.
Honestly. We'll just drag it behind us.
Right, just tow it home.
I don't know if you guys have the equipment to tow it.
True.
Well, then I guess it is what it is.
So
Well, this-
18 morale and 64 crew. They are very upset, but the fires do go out.
And Umbria kind of, I guess it takes a while for these fires to go out. Like, she's noticing just all this
Yeah.
damage, the deaths, just...
Yeah, it takes 2.5 hours
It's
to
m-
put out all these fires.
Yeah, it's more and more impatient, just kind of crossing her arms, looking around.
So what happens if we bring some crew and some provisions from the Thorne's Rose over here to the Rusty
Frigate.
frigate? Yes.
So you would lose some crew on your ship, and that could have impacts. I don't know what effect it would have on morale. We'd have to consider it, because you got to consider your men are actually probably mostly lower level nobles and housemen, and these are pirates. So they're very different crews. Now, mechanically speaking, they're about the same. If we're looking at, I think the Rose's Thorne crew is mechanically better, or the Thorne's Rose is mechanically better, because they're flat 30 on everything. I think certain portions of the Rusty Frigate crew are better in some aspects, worse in others. So, you could bring them over. What impact, that would obviously increase the crew amount. It would decrease it on your ship, but the impact it would have on morale or anything like that is not known.
Okay. So mingling crews may not be the best idea. So what about we bring them some provisions from the Rose?
Like food and stuff, or
Yeah,
Wine.
I mean, after all the fires and
Fires.
damage and loss of life, I assume that conditions here aren't even as good as they were before the battle.
surprisingly, you didn't do much damage to their food stocks. So they've got quite a bit of food. Are you just trying to bribe them with just really good gifts or something? So you
Well,
have
just
them
trying
accept
to figure out how to start their morale on the heel.
it? Mhm.
Booze. Lots of booze.
Yeah, you could see about bringing drinks in or stuff like that if you have. So if you're willing to, spend some time with some of your provisions to try to increase morale, or you could give a speech, or there's different ways to raise morale. Let me go ahead and see them. Bringing into port raises morale. So yeah, replenishing morale and crew population. So one thing you can do. So taking it into port's an option, and you can do stuff that distributes some gelt, so they can go around and spend money and do stuff like that. Of course, you have to bring them into port first. Population is difficult to restore without just going someplace to bring it up, but morale, you can have a couple options. Another option is to make a difficult charm or intimidate test, and to try to rally the crew, and that could increase morale based on every degree of success that you have. You can only do that once per session, though. So maybe you could say some inspiring words, maybe, and
Come to heel, or I'll let Mr. Khan have you.
that could be intimidate.
Okay, so is this thing currently space-worthy? Can we fly it?
Yeah, it can
as
be
is?
flown. It can be flown. You have enough crew to move it to fly it. It's heavily damaged, and it's going to take a little bit of additional time to bring it into port, but you can certainly fly it now.
So entering port starts to fix one of our problems anyway.
Mhm.
I assume it would likewise be easier for Umbria to effect repairs if we were in port.
Yes, if you're in an area that has like a spaceport and everything like that, you can do more permanent repairs. As is, with the ship, you can make repairs on a weekly basis, but you cannot restore any damaged or destroyed components. I believe the weapons are damaged, if I remember correctly from the fire. So the weapons are damaged, and I think the engines may also be damaged from fire. So you've got damaged components. Those cannot be restored. You can restore hull integrity up to full now, but those damaged components can't be fixed unless you're in a port of call, I believe. Let me take a check on extended repairs to make sure of that. Yeah, so we'll need to find an inhabited planet or space station. And once that's been located, the crew can pay to have their starship repaired. But you have to make acquisition tests to go ahead
that's
and also
pain.
do that.
I guess paying for additional stuff. We can just
Yeah,
fix
it's
it
trying to pay
ourselves.
for yeah. Well, for
Right, well, I mean, that's the rogue
components, you
trader
have
answer.
to. Mm-hmm.
Throw money at it and the problem goes away. That
Mhm.
seems to be the... So, Asterius.
Oh, actually, so you can restore all damaged, depressured, and unpowered components. It's only destroyed components that would have to be repurchased and replaced.
Okay.
It basically takes less time to fix it at a port. Just
So,
cost acquisition.
At this point, it sounds to our rogue trader like what we should do is go over to the Navy ship, see if there's anything we want to cannibalize from it, and do so. Then take this ship and the Rose back to port, tell the Navy where what's left of their ship is, so that they're happy and like us,
Mhm.
and then go ahead and fix this thing in port.
Mhm.
Sounds like a good sound plan.
So, Umbria does kind of like diagnostics just on the ship, just for like RP purposes and everything, kind of analyzing it, seeing how damaged it is. And she looks to Achilles and sighs.
She asked if Lord Thorne's familiar with the term foobar.
Unfortunately, Lord Thorne, this ship and the damage that your ship caused is unfortunately out of my realm of expertise to fix it completely out here. I need a place. Once I have a proper port to fix, I can repair the ship to your standards. I apologize for this failure.
Achilles nods. Yes, of course, I understand. And so I think the next move would be for Umbria, Asterius, and Achilles to go check out what's left of the Navy ship.
Okay. Are you doing a scan, or are you going over to review it? Just
I
voice
guess
you,
we...
or-
I guess we start with a scan. I mean,
Hmm.
better than just going in blind.
Okay. Who wants?
Although
to-
this takes us back to maybe the tech priest could use scanners.
Yeah, no, I mean, anybody can use scanners. It's just scrutiny.
Well, anybody
plus
can use them,
detection.
but as the battle proved, we didn't have anybody in the crew that was any good at it.
We could make because Tet took scrutiny, so we could make him do it. I
Yes.
mean, you could make Aeneas do it.
Radio over.
Okay, that works.
All right. So I'll have him do an active augury. Which is a scrutiny plus detection. Okay, let me see the detection on this ship. For the Thorne's Rose, that is... The detection's 15. So it's going to be his scrutiny plus 15.
Hey,
Okay. So Aeneas kind of reviews the scanners and consults them. Let's see. What would that's one? It's just success, no additional degrees. What do we have, my lord? Most of the ship is unpowered. Life support is off. What I see is scanners. There is organic matter floating around outside of it. It is heavily damaged. Weapons are not in working order. No signs of life.
can he make out if anything about, what kind of drives, what kind of weapons, things we might want to take from the ship?
No. It appears to be a transport ship of some sort. So it does not appear to have any strange readings for any of its components.
Well, I suppose we should go have a look anyway.
After all, the pirates wanted it for a reason.
Good point.
Let us be careful.
Perhaps we should bring some murder servitudes.
Maybe we should bring some of these crewmen to see what they can prove.
You mean 3 of us and a bunch of enemy crewmen who are now friends? For how quickly things can change in an abandoned derelict ship when we're outnumbered.
Did I say many of them? No. A few. 1 or 2.
Vorkul, what was your crew after on that ship?
Vorkul. We heard there was some kind of treasure on board. We blew the thing away because the treasure ended up being something horrible, apparently. We sent in a few boarding parties. Only a couple came back. Captain, in his wisdom, decided it was best to go ahead and blow holes in it first before we went back over. some kind of bugs on board.
Bugs, you say?
We had VODs of it. Don't know if it's still on our ship scanners or not.
Achilles gives a meaningful look to Umbria.
Yes, my lord.
See if you can pull up these scans he speaks of.
I can do that. And she'll interface with the computer there and pull up the videos.
Give me a tech use.
Can I use can I
MIU would count.
MIU and my buddy?
Yes, MIU and your buddy
Your
would both
buddy.
count, so it's plus 30.
Cool. Let's see. Tech use. 30.
That'll pass. So you bring up some VODs from some shoulder-mounted units that these boarders were using, just like surveillance, like camera. For a while, it's traditional, what kind of what you expect, just them prowling the halls in void suits. There's quite a bit of banter and pirate chatter, talking about how strong they are and all this other, all the things you would expect from very cocksure pirates. And then they make first contact with what you see on the ship, and I will go ahead and show you what that looks like as you're watching on the VOD. Let me get all these losers out of here. As you're watching on the VODs, you see a couple different creatures on the scanner, on the VODs they had. This was for the first boarding party. The pirates begin to panic and fire wildly at these things. Varying degrees of success. Some of these creatures are killed outright. Other ones, the bullets seem to do nothing to them. And just the sheer number of creatures begins to overwhelm them, and the size as well. When you see these, they're bigger than the average man for sure. Probably about, they range in size for the most part, between 5.5 to maybe 8 feet tall, and fully scaled and armored. And they plod down these narrow corridors just over top each other, through each other, tear into the pirates. This particular VOD ends with a creature spitting some green liquid onto the broadcaster, which appears to melt him as the camera slowly slides to the floor.
This does not seem like a very safe strategy to jump aboard. I'm not sure if they can survive outside of a controlled environment, but she'll kind of give a look over to Asterius and Achilles and addresses Achilles. My advice, Lord Thorne, is that we do not risk your life going over there in case there is something.
I'd hate to run into one of those.
This is, of course, just my advisement. Take it as you will. But should you choose to board, if you choose me to accompany, I will be by your side.
My lord, we're short now. Groups of men couldn't handle these things. Yes, it may have died with the holes in the ship. But perhaps they didn't, and we'd be meeting them firsthand with less than what the pirates sent at them.
Maybe we should take the ship into port before boarding. Or we gather the rest before examining, as I feel that Helios would be a extreme asset to a mission such as this. Raven?
Raven, you there?
Testing.
Yeah, you're good.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
That's good.
Achilles nods. It's an excellent idea. Before we encounter such creatures, we should have our arch-militant, perhaps Aeneas's eye. So, just to kind of rewind for a second, the two species appear to be cooperative.
Yes, you don't notice anything on the VODs that suggests they were fighting. It was more than like, how do I phrase this? They were not fighting each other on the VODs.
Okay. So out of character, Achilles' concern is if we leave it here, then somebody else may get it before we get back. I guess if nothing scanned as particularly interesting, maybe we just go on and report it to the Navy. Let them come deal with the bugs. Wonder if they were transporting the bugs.
Maybe that is why they want it back. To examine and find out exactly what they are. Or they are being used for something. But contacting the Navy may be in our best interest, Lord Thorne.
What do you think, Asterius?
I think we should stay far away from those creatures as possible, alive or dead.
Very well, then. Let's turn the two ships we do have for port. And we'll put in a call to our contacts in the Navy and report their vessel's location.
Sounds like a plan. Would
Yes.
you like me to patch you through, or do you have that handled, Lord Thorne?
Yeah, I suppose he can make the call. But as far as crew left on this ship, do we need to put somebody over here in charge to fly this thing home, Ghost?
That might be a pretty good choice since I think, I'm pretty sure that, Aeneas killed the, pilot, so...
Oh, he totally did.
Yeah, he absolutely killed the pilot. Might be his best option. Might be your best option.
And how does it work? Can Aeneas navigate for both ships?
No, so that was actually something I was going to bring up. This ship does not have a navigator. It being a pirate ship, this is not entirely unheard of. So...
How far is the nearest port?
What was it? Wasn't very far. A couple of days or something, it seems like.
Yeah, you guys are like 3 to 5 days away.
That is not very far.
So, in absence of a navigator, how did they get around?
In real space only. Navigators are necessary only for,
For warp travel.
yeah, for warp travel.
Navigated warp travel, I think.
Yeah, you need navigation. You need a navigator to travel in the warp. I mean, you can attempt to travel in the warp without one, but you'd be hopelessly lost, and you might end up like
I think you can make
across the
small
galaxy.
jumps without a navigator, like 3 to 4 light years. But for larger jumps and actually driving through and navigating the warp, that's why you need a navigator.
And so that travel time, 3 to 5 days, was in real space, or...
It was.
Okay, well, then we can just do that.
Do we have another pilot, either aboard here or aboard your ship, Lord Thorne?
Good question.
That guy definitely couldn't work 24 hours a day. So yes, I would say you have some other pilots.
We'll send Helios over here to keep him in check.
Perfect. Maybe Helios can then make the crew take the oath while he is here.
Oh, I'm sure he will.
Wonderful. My question being, must I also take this oath, Lord Thorne?
Achilles kind of ponders that one for a minute, not knowing exactly how that would work with whatever Umbria's obligations to the machine priesthood.
Adeptus Mechanicus.
Yeah.
She just waits, slowly blinking at Lord Thorne.
Achilles kind of scratches his head and obviously isn't ignoring her question, but isn't really sure how to answer it either. Finally, he furrows his brow. We'll talk about it later.
As you wish, Lord Thorne. If you don't
And-
mind, if you wish me to either remain on this ship or return to Thorne's Rose with you, if I shall return to Thorne's Rose, I would like to inspect the ship, see if there or what any improvements that I can make either on the way or when we arrive at port.
That would be excellent. But I think perhaps for the journey, your talents may be best served here.
Acceptable.
And so I think for the journey, we'll send our Voidsman and Arch-Militant and leave Umbria in case something breaks even worse.
I will keep an eye on the operations of the ship, Lord Thorne.
And then Achilles will take Asterius and Aeneas on the Rose. And I think we'll make ready to see what kind of trouble we get into going to port.
All right. So it's gonna be Umbria here. Essentially, is the one person you're leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Umbria
Okay.
and Helios and Darius.
Okay, all are gonna be on the pirate ship.
Correct.
Gotcha. Oh boy. Okay. So put them over there.
And we'll tell Helios not to unnecessarily kill crewmen.
Okay.
I figure Umbria, in case something goes mechanically haywire,
Mhm. So let's
Helios,
go to
because
Corona.
he's the master voidsman, and Darius, in case either one of the aforementioned needs some backup.
All right. So we're gonna call this Thorne's Fleet. We're gonna call it Thorne's Fleet for now, as it is technically a fleet. You're up here at that red area.
The journey of 1,000 miles begins with but a step.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, this is a 3 to 5 day journey. Let's say it's yeah, we'll go with that. 3 to 5 days. So I'll roll a d10 if it's how we divide that into threes. 1 to 4, 5 to 7, 8 to 10. Yeah, sure. So 1 to 4, lower is better. 1 to 4 will be 3 days, 4 days, 5 days. They'll go in that order. So who wants to roll the d10 to get a sense of how many days this will
I
take?
think Sim should. Don't touch it, Raven. You're rolling high.
What?
Come on,
Hey, she's
Sim.
right.
Yeah.
I haven't rolled anything. Well, that first re-roll turned out okay,
Yeah.
but man, everything else I've touched.
Yeah, it's garbage. Sim. It's all on you. We're gonna blame you if it's
Yeah.
high.
You guys have no idea what we're in for.
Let's go. You got this.
So D10, huh?
Yep.
Roll a 1. Ah!
Not bad. That's it's a median. So 4 days. It does take 4 days. You're going to footfall, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, going to footfall. 4 days. It is a uneventful journey in real space. Rather boring. Over those 4 days, you are in Vox communication with the other ship. Nothing really takes place. A few minor things here and there on the pirate ship, but nothing that Helios and Darius couldn't handle. And you do come into Footfall, and I do need to do a bit of research to see if Footfall has more than a makeshift port. So let me take a look.
Well, Achilles will tell everyone to be on their guard. That the former owners of this vessel have been to Footfall and may have friends here.
And Umbria will contact the other ship. And I'm assuming probably the 6 of us might be in like communication with each other.
Oh yeah, I'm sure we are.
Yeah, you guys would be able to communicate with each other via Vox or astropathic contact if you really wanted to go that hard, but
Yeah, so
you guys are probably close with Vox.
yeah, so Umbria will hop on the Vox. Just come with the 6 of them. So, in case some of these former pirates decide to continue their careers of being actual pirates, shall we execute them and send them out the airlock?
Absolutely.
Good. How...
Is that the whole crew?
No,
Oh.
just
those who decide to oppose
anybody
us.
that,
I gotcha.
yeah, dissenters walk home.
Actually, during the journey over the few days, Umbria is going to travel on foot within the ship, just kind of inspecting it, looking here and there, and also just kind of walking around in front of the crew, kind of displaying the fact that she's not trapped in a prison anymore.
And is kind of in charge of them.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. Hands behind the back, slightly hunched over. Just kind of slowly blinking, staring at each one of them, trying to remember all of their faces as she walks along, making mental notes of who does what as she goes, seeing if there's anyone who's even performed outstanding work or anything mediocre, she'll also note.
You can, if you're looking at tech, let's see. What's in a, if you want to roll for it or just kind of get, you gonna roll for it or just kind of get a sense based on what you see?
Kind of get a sense based on what I see, especially like noting anyone who seems to be like kind of very absorbed in their work, because she's kind of assuming maybe some of them will kind of give her the stink eye or whatever. But any of them who are very like absorbed in what they're doing, really dedicating themselves to having the ship run, she's gonna make note of.
Yeah, you don't get a whole lot of that. What you see in your travels on foot for the ship, you see it is not a very well-trained crew. Most of these men are, again, they're pirates. They're not to the same quality of the voidsmen that you saw in your limited time on the Thorne's Rose, who do their work diligently. These men are slovenly. Most of the equipment is kept in working order, though there's not much effort given to cleanliness or anything like that. It's very much a situation where most of these men they subsisted on violence, and in downtime between violence, they're fairly adequate. It does not look like very well done as far as this ship. You actually would know that you you probably did more work than most of these guys have ever done on this ship in your 6 months with them. Or 4 months, 4 to 6 months, whatever it was.
So the only one who's really well trained, at least, or seems to be well behaved, is Vorkul, yes?
Yes.
All right. So after some rounds and everything, after a few days of doing, kind of inspecting everybody, and she'll do it a few times, kind of going around, staring, making a point to actually stand behind people while they work, kind of gazing, inspecting what they're doing. She goes back to the bridge, which is kind of the pilot and the other two. She'll get back on the Vox. Lord Thorne, I have an observation that I would like to share, if I may.
Of course, Umbria.
These creatures aboard this ship, all besides Vorkul, will be useless to you. They do not carry the same air of duty, of dedication, of work ethic that I observed briefly of your men. All of your men, especially the ones who carry considerable amounts of power within your crew, are all very dedicated to you, but these men, save for Vorkul, are nothing but garbage and should be treated as such. Again, this is just an observation, but I think once we have the opportunity, I think we should space them all.
Achilles nods. Noted. Thank you for your candor.
Of course, I only wish to have the most efficient crew for you, Lord Thorne. If I may ask another question.
Of course.
What do you plan on doing with this ship? Do you plan on creating a fleet for yourself? Or do you plan on using it for parts to increase the efficiency of the Thorne's Rose?
My first thought is beginnings of a fleet. But if your technical expertise leads you to believe that we would be better served cannibalizing it for the Rose, then that certainly is an option we could entertain.
Ghost, can I make a shipwright check to see if maybe that would be a better idea?
You're comparing to see if it's better to cannibalize or repair?
Yes.
Go. You certainly can. Go ahead.
Cool. Let's see. Would I just do trade? Does it go specifically into trade if I select my token?
I think trade's general.
Is it?
I
I know there's
I don't know that.
trade. Like, let's see. Select modifiers.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
I'll just roll
'Cause
it.
You're rolling in, right? Like it's. Oh, it's. I think that did it.
Yeah. I'm gonna spend a fate point on that. Might as
Go ahead.
well. See if I can get something better. Alright.
Yeah, you're not really sure. I mean, it could, it kind of depends on who you're selling to. If you're trying to scrap it, like where are you gonna sell the?
It's not exactly scrap,
No.
it's cannibalize. Like
Cannibalize
oh
it?
yeah.
So, I mean, you know, if you cannibalize it, you're not really sure what the value would be of that. You know that, you'd know basic that ships are rarely built anymore. So to have a working ship in order, in and of itself is, you know, pretty valuable. As far as, you know, if it's repaired or how it could be worked with, I mean, you haven't spent enough time on it to know. As far as looking at it, you spent more time as a prisoner, and they took you where they needed you to fix things. You haven't really been able to get a full, thorough review of the ship at this time, so you're not really sure as to, um, you know, what could be done. Obviously, you're aware of what you're aware of by, you know, based on the Rusty Frigate's information that you have from scans and things like that. But you're not really sure what you know, what else, if anything, could be changed to utilize it. So
Now, presumably, based on the name, the Rusty Frigate, the ship is some sort of frigate.
it is. You would know it's a sword class frigate, which is a fairly common ship type for the Navy, especially in the Navy.
And she'll answer.
But this very much appears pirate-like, though. Just to clarify, there's it has a sword class frigate build, but there are definitely accoutrements and alterations that make it look rather wild and not quite as regal as a naval sword as a naval sword frigate might look.
And Umbria will hop back on the Vox after kind of debating for a moment. Unfortunately, my time here was mostly spent being led to certain places. They wanted me to be led, and I have not gotten a full gauge of the ship, even in my few days of making my rounds. I will say, if we cosmetically alter the ship here, the Rusty Frigate, to more suit the stylistic value of the Thorne's Rose, I feel like it would be a good addition to your fleet, Lord Thorne. But in terms of gaining or losing anything from cannibalizing the ship or keeping it within the fleet, I have not had the time to properly assess the capabilities of this ship. So for now, my professional opinion would be to keep it, maybe, like I said, make it more in line with your aesthetic, but keep it. Though I would find a new crew and kill the rest.
Excellent. Again, thank you for your valued opinion.
Of course, if you do not wish my opinion at any time, if it becomes troublesome, please inform me, and I will correct.
Of course.
The value on the operable ship is insurmountable. Keeping it is the best idea, I feel. As far as the crew goes, maybe some adjustment time before we decide. Some may fall in line, but we can always find willing people to man it. It's just the quality. It takes time to build a quality crew.
Yeah, and out of character, I don't know what we can find on Footfall. I don't, but you know, they're almost half gone. So
You can always make acquisition tests for stuff. So I mean, if you want to try
Do you want to roll high for acquisition tests?
You run a roll low, and you're rolling against your acquisition, your profit factor.
I think we had a pretty good profit factor.
You do. It should be on your sheet.
Yeah.
And then we can go through we can go through, you know, what you'd have to roll to collect crew and things like that if you guys want.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I think maybe keeping it is a good option. And so we'd want to crew it, repair it. What, did we destroy any systems?
I believe you just heavily damaged the engines and weapons systems. Because it was a situation where fires had started in those areas and the crew was unable to put them out. So it caused heavy damage and then spread to other components.
Okay, so we don't even have to replace any systems. It's just a whole lot of repair.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. Okay, so Asterius, find us the best port facilities.
Give me some time and I can do that. So,
trying to think what would be the best way to go about that.
Now think about what skills you have and how you want to try to figure this out.
I mean, I could put the word out to the underworld if I could find a contact.
Okay. Let's see. So putting it out to the underworld. What would that be under? Inquiry. I would say inquiry. Plus 10 from peer underworld if you're looking for... Success with... So 0 degrees, but success nonetheless. So through underworld contacts, you are able to find a couple ports, and I can tell you the differences. So one of them is just kind of your average port area. Most of the people who work there, obviously, as I said before, there's not much naval presence on Footfall, but there are enough, you know, competent repair crews and voidsmen that are here for whatever reason they're here. That people have put together some shipyards and specialize in repairs. You could bring that in, and it would be, you'd roll it at a that acquisition modifier we discussed. It's a -10 for each time you're trying to repair. For each 5 points of hull integrity. So if you're trying to repair it to full, I believe you would have to roll 4 times for acquisition tests.
Can they give bonus?
At a -10.
At negative 40 by the 4th one.
No. It's just -10 every time. It's not consecutive. It's just flat. It's -10 for every.
I see.
As for bonuses, this is kind of just paying for This is paying for help,
Hmm.
basically.
Okay.
That's the differences between doing the repairs yourself or paying for it. So paying for it gets the repairs done like quickly,
Mhm.
like within a couple days, because you hire entire crews to come fix your ship. Doing it yourself, you're using the crew that's available, but you're doing it in a situation where you may not have access to the same tools as these shipyards, and you're handling the repairs solely through your direction.
Ah, okay.
Which is why it doesn't cost you anything. It takes tech use, but it also takes more time for each 5 points of hull repair. So it's just it's a cost versus it's a time versus money type situation, I guess, is how to best phrase it. Even though it doesn't decrease profit factor per se, it does. It's different roles, different aspects. That's one port yard. The other port yard that you find, Asterius, I'm going to whisper you something, and if you have questions about it, then you may make some consecutive rolls or ask around. But moment.
All right.
So are we making tests, or is just Sim making tests? Ah,
I just whispered Sim some
Okay.
stuff, and he can impart it.
just want to make sure. I was like, ah! It's too quiet.
I mean, before I want to find out more information before I pass it on. Like, because I see they're hesitant to tell me about who they are, so I'd want to dig a little bit to see if I can figure that out.
Try doing another inquiry, but this is with something you're not familiar with. So it's going to be at a -20. It would not be... I wouldn't give you the criminal bonus for this one because you're trying to figure something out that's not... They're not strictly underworld. There's something else that doesn't apply.
Alright.
Unfortunately not.
Alright. Would I be able to find out the information that they want?
No, that... I mean, you're not sure what your contacts mean by that. They're very vague on that point, and a lot of your contacts in the underworld here say they haven't personally dealt with them, but they have talked to people who use them before, and they always request some information. They usually don't discuss it.
Alright. So after digging around, and that the only requirement is the information, like it's not cost wise or anything like that.
Well, so I mean, there's still some costs, but a lot of it's what the figures they gave you. This is probably the best deal you're going to get here. You're not really sure why everything is so cheap, but they say it doesn't affect quality of repairs. That this is some of the best repair you can possibly get.
Alright. So I'll go back to Achilles and explain to him about the first port and the -10 for 5 and everything. And then relay the other stuff. I'll
Through my contacts, the other port, the tech priests who I can't find out who they're affiliated with. But rumor has it that in exchange for information, they are pretty fast, efficient, and cheap. And the quality is pretty good.
And what sort of information?
Nobody will say or nobody knows. It may be cost effective, but what we're giving up is the unknown.
We'll see what Umbria thinks.
Will do.
You know what? They'll get Umbria up in the box.
Umbria, are you there?
Of course, Asterius. How may I assist?
One of the ports that we were looking at, there's a group of tech priests who nobody knows who they're affiliated or who they won't talk about who they're affiliated with. They do repairs fast, cheap, and efficiently. That doesn't affect the quality. However, there is a requirement that we exchange information with them. The information that they want is unknown. Either they don't know or nobody will talk about it.
And you wish me to inquire upon this, correct?
Well, thoughts? Do you know anything?
Let's see, let me just go through my information. Could I make a Forbidden Lore Adeptus Mechanicus?
Certainly can.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
holy crap. You know what? Fate point. Let's use my...
You have
I have
fate
one
points?
more.
All right, go ahead.
I used one already. Here's my second one. Rolling. Oh, there we go.
That's much better.
Yes.
All right, hold on.
Man, we need to be playing something where players want to roll high.
Well, no, because I'm gonna be doing the opposite.
And Umbria kind of racks her brain. Give me moments. Let me access my memory banks to see if I can figure out exactly what they are meaning. Can you give me more information, Asterius? At all? Who did you speak to?
That was but a carrier. The way that in the world works is that I find somebody who's connected and they send the word out, so it goes through multiple people. The only other thing I can add is that they're outside of the Mechanicus.
Of course they are. And Umbria.
I'm not.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm not sure if they're afraid to talk about it, or if this lack of knowledge.
Yeah, Ghost, if you can explain that to me, that'd be great.
All right, so they're like you guys, but remove all boundaries.
Oh.
Remove any kind of barrier to progression, because the way you guys learn the Mechanicus is by memorization rather than innovation. Like you have things that are passed down, and you discover some things that are old and lost from time to time, and apply them if they're safe. Think of these as the inventors, but that is a bad thing. Like there are zero boundaries. It is all about innovation, and that sometimes innovation's great, but a lot of the terrible shit that happens in the universe happens because somebody tried to step outside of what is safe in the Mechanicus, and that's what these guys are. And they also can be affiliated with not very wholesome elements that are not entirely sanctioned by the Imperium, if you're familiar with how the lines are drawn in the universe.
Kind of. And Umbria sighs audibly over the box. No, we should not be dealing with them at all.
Copy that. Can you elaborate?
They are in complete opposition to the Adeptus Mechanicus. They... Ghost, would they... are they heretical in terms of what we think?
Oh, abso-fucking-lutely.
Alright. They are definitely points of heretical thoughts in their midst. Unless, Lord Thorne, you suggest that we tread into heresy, I suggest we fully steer clear or destroy these individuals, this group. They are a problem.
Let's see. Achilles looks a little unhappy about that because he was hoping to get low-cost tech priest at the full-service station. So, Umbria, how long do you... I believe your repairs may be more trustworthy than this other place.
It will...
How long should it take to repair the vessel?
It will be a few weeks. It will take time, as I will be overseeing who we have to complete the repairs. These individuals may be more inexpensive, quicker in their repairs, as I am but one expert amongst tools where there are many experts. They may be cheap and fast, but invites darkness into the mission. Therefore, I advise that we take our time in what we do. We do it right. And we do it knowing that we did not sacrifice ourselves in pursuit of wealth and inexpensive help.
Achilles thanks Umbria. So, Ghost, our main plot line here is the opening of a trade route.
Oh, you remember? Yes, it is.
What sort of clock is running on that?
You have no idea. If anyone wants to, they can make, if they have a lore roll they feel is associated, you can kind of roll to get an idea of what Zaith is like, and maybe that can help you a bit. If anyone feels they have associated lore, or feel like they want to do inquiries on football, you can certainly do either one of those.
Honestly, the only common lore I would have for that is like Underworld, of course.
Let me check.
Could use that.
It's specifically lore, correct?
Yeah, it'd be lore. I mean, if you have inquiry or something like that, or anything you feel would help you find information, you can certainly try to use it. And as long as you can give me a good validation for it, I'll allow it. Might be at certain difficulties, but
We could inquire the traders as well.
what's that?
So I could talk to traders as well and see if anybody's been around there or not. But I mean, that's stretching it really. But this is this whole purpose is why we're going there, because it's not a common route.
Well, I mean, people have been to Zaith. It's just a matter of you guys haven't specifically asked or inquired anything about it, so you guys wouldn't know.
Well, we'll see what Achilles just knows from his common lore rogue trader.
Sure.
See how
Urgent.
urgent.
Rogue trader. Let me see. I'm just trying to think of how it's going to apply, because that's more to do with like rogue traders in general, like history of rogue traders, things like that.
Well, what he's trying to glean from it is, well, simply put, does he have time to wait to make these repairs ourselves, or should he go ahead and, quote, pay for them and be on his way faster? And so that, at least to my mind, seems to apply to rogue trading.
Yeah. I mean, I can that's general, like, space travel. I can just tell you that. I mean, so real space time, this has basically been a week, right? It's not a big deal, but you got to think about the time that you took to get here. So I believe if we review previous information, some of these jumps, I mean, I think you almost had a month of total time, if not more, from when you guys were jumping around from Port Wander. So it's probably been 1 to 2 months real space at this point from when you took this job. And you're not there yet. So, I mean, and who knows how much longer it's going to take. So,
okay, so we should move along.
I mean, that's entirely up to you guys how you spend your time. You know that you're not sure how long it could take to get to the destination. I will say typically when a job is accepted, people try to move on it quickly. But again, that's at the discretion of the one who takes the job. It's not uncommon for someone to take a job and a year later arrive there and the job's not there anymore. It's also not uncommon for somebody to get there super quick, and I mean, it's space travel and warp travel. Everything is very chaotic, and people who put out requests like this understand that things are going to get in the way. Like this, it's not a well-oiled machine traveling the universe. There are things that happen, and I mean, basically, it's a shit happens kind of universe when it comes to warp travel. So, I mean, how this job's going to be when you get there, you have no idea.
Okay, and so that sort of brings up another interesting point. How do we keep the fleet together?
That is a
traipsing
tough
off
one.
across.
So we've got a couple things here. Your ship, I believe, is actually faster than a frigate, if I remember correctly, traveling the warp. They might all be the same. I had to look into it more. But obviously, all warp rolls are going to be different. Not everybody's to the quality of Aeneas. But before that, even, you need to have a navigator. That other ship has no navigator, and you don't have a fleet beacon. So you're not able to enter the warp together. It would be going into and out of warp at separate times. So with this other ship, you'd need to get a navigator, and then you'd kind of have to try to plot courses if you want to stick together. I mean, you could be waiting in. It kind of depends on their. It's a very much an it depends thing. It could depend on how well they rolled or how poorly they rolled, being when they get there. Obviously, setting direction is important, and wait X amount of days or do this or do that. Without a fleet beacon, you had to kind of coordinate a bit.
Okay, so on a scale of las pistol to knucklebone from the Emperor's mother as a holy, where does fleet beacon fall in the?
I believe they're pretty rare, but let me go ahead and take a look.
Hey, here's an idea. We contact the Navy. We report the location of their ship. And assuming they're happy with us, hey, you guys are in the fleet business. Perhaps you could guide us to a beacon.
Good work. Also, we could, because we do not have another navigator, either we find one, or travel will be greatly slowed due to not having another navigator to navigate through the warp. And because our forces might be split due to the lack of crewmen on this ship here. My advice at this point, and again, if it is unwanted, let me know. My advice would be, as this is a working ship, though damaged, is to maybe sell it or scrap it for money, because at this point, as you say, we have a greater purpose, a greater mission to accomplish. It might be best to continue with just the Thorne's Rose and not have things weighing us down.
So fleet beacon is not actually a thing in this system. However,
Rip.
Made of pure hand wavy.
Yep, get it out of here. So here's how we're gonna do it. I will say that it kind of just adds another navigation roll to the test. If you want to try to enter the warp together, and we'll put a cap on this if we need to, but say you want to travel with these two ships to a location, we'll say that the navigators can coordinate to try to get their routes on task, led by whatever navigator you feel is obviously superior.
There's no question about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Favoritism aside, but yeah, I mean, so it'd be.
This is the 40K universe. We practice nepotism here. Thank you.
Precisely. So, I would say that as long as the navigators can coordinate, there'll be another navigation roll. But if it's successful, that will allow both navigators kind of get on the same page what they see, and make the trip together, as long as the ships are of a reasonably similar class, which I believe yours are all kind of in the same general area for that. So, and of course, if things go exceptionally well, and there's obviously more than just 2 ships, we'll work to put a cap on it. But right now, that's what we'll do.
If they go exceptionally bad, we get a Philadelphia experiment kind of thing, and we just have 1 ship anyway.
Yeah, precisely. So, and then, however, each ship will have its own warp travel rolls. So, if a ship's going with you, you guys can coordinate to get there in the same amount of days, but you're going to roll separately on the tables, which means that shit might happen different on the other ship than what happens to yours.
Well, that sort of seems reasonable for this universe.
So we'll do that for a house rule from here. I don't believe there's any particular ruling on it for fleet beacons and shit like that. So we'll call it that. So that's how that'll be handled. So what were the next thing, you guys? So I mean, for this ship, I mean, obviously you're looking at, you need crew, it needs repairs, it needs a navigator, it needs somebody who's going to captain it as well. I mean, if this is going to be something that's regularly used, you can. I mean, obviously you can lead from your ship, but it needs direct leadership as well. So that's something else to consider. Because you might, you can obviously command the Rose Thorne from your chair, but if you get into a fight, you can rarely, you could hardly try to control both ships from your location, other than giving orders to whatever individual's in charge over there.
Okay. So we will go to the first port, since our tech priest says that the other place is a bed of heretics.
Heresy!
I just had that whole divine intervention episode, and so I have the favor of the emperor. Can't go
Can't do him wrong.
messing with the heretics.
Can't do him dirty.
And I suppose we put Aeneas on the task of trying to find a navigator. That seems like that may be the hardest part of this deal.
That is acquisition.
Mysterious.
Yeah, Asterius is certainly a good idea. I think we want Aeneas to interview any potential candidates, though.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know that, I don't think we're just going to shake a tree and we're going to have a whole bunch of navigators fall out.
Yeah, navigators can be difficult to locate. It'd be a roll
seems
against...
like Asterius and Helios would be a good team for finding crew.
Mm-hmm. So we're gonna say this is...
I think we want Umbria to oversee whatever the shipyard is doing.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want anybody doing anything underhanded to
She's
us.
cracking the whip.
Okay. So one of those we can do, and see how long these repairs will take.
Okay.
And see how awful it goes.
So let's go ahead and bring up the extended repairs for handouts. That is under Starship Combat, strangely enough. So extended repairs. To perform extended repairs, you should locate a suitable anchorage. There are plenty of anchorages here that people aren't using.
Perfect.
So let's
What
see.
page or what handout number?
It's Starship Combat under extended repairs is what it should say.
But what handout? There's so many.
Handouts folder, Starship Combat, extended repairs.
I found it.
So, take a tech
Mhm.
use. Tally the so let's see. Tallying the degrees time period. It's been several weeks on the repairs. So we'll say 2 weeks for each test.
Okay, and tech use.
I'll be nice.
Oh no, we were gonna get the shipyard guys to.
Oh, you are? Oh, you're getting the shipyard guys
What?
to do it?
Right.
Okay.
What?
Well, not the
Yeah.
heretics. There were two
Not the
shipyards.
heretics.
No, not the heretics.
Yeah, it's
Good
the other
boys.
one. It's the guys who are just the guys.
Generic, the boys.
Yes. So this one, it depends on how many points of hull integrity you want to try. So let's do one, for the first 5 points of hull integrity. You need to succeed on 4 of these to fully repair it.
Okay.
So it's going to be an acquisition test at a -10
Oh,
penalty.
someone else is doing that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the acquisition's all the same for everybody. You all have the same profit factor.
How do we?
Mhm.
So we go onto
Yeah.
the Thorns Rose, right? To roll it,
You
or-
go, so you go into I think it should be on all your sheets, if I'm not mistaken. It should be something for profit factor.
Mm,
Yeah, it's like some people haven't marked it, it appears. Achilles, I believe, has it. Yeah, you guys are at 50. So you're rolling a
I'm rolling a
D100,
40.
trying to beat a
Alright,
40.
Achilles.
Mhm.
Yeah.
okay. Got this.
Because we've been rolling so.
You've been rolling so well. Don't roll 100. Hey!
Okay, so pass there, so no concerns. That gives you 5 points back, and I'll go ahead and adjust it here. So you're at 23 for the Rusty Frigate.
Okay.
So that's 1. Now you can do another one, because that's not over 40. Okay.
Much
So,
for that.
so let's see. So, once one has failed, the explorers are exhausted. So you succeed again, so it's another 5 points. But what happens is that either there's a issue with, let's see, for this one, what makes more sense? You definitely didn't exhaust funds. No. So for this, it's more that the materials that they need are kind of run out to fix certain problems on your ship. So it is going to take them 3 weeks to get that material in.
Oof.
So, I'm a rogue trader with a ship. I've got a fix for that problem.
Mm-hmm.
We'll go get whatever it is.
All right, so you're going to leave this one in port? The other one? Or are you going to take it with you?
No, we'll leave it in the repair yard.
All right, with the pirate on crew?
And we're cool. Put them in there.
It's tough having 2 ships, isn't it?
Yeah, we go ahead and make Vorkul the captain of it.
It's a pretty good promotion.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he accepts. He'll definitely be captain.
And explain to him, as tempting as it may be to just go ahead and strike out on his own, that I'm fairly certain that he'll find more profit following House Thorne.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do we leave Darius to give him the fist in case he tries to pull anything underhanded while we're gone?
Do you want to leave Darius behind?
Well, not really.
I mean,
We could always put a pause to it for
Yeah.
now, and since we're at a bit of a crossroads for this
yeah,
one.
we kind of need the rest of the crew.
Mm.
Yeah, well, I think this is a reasonable place to put on the
Mhm.
brakes.
All right, so you go ahead and stop the
All
recording.
right.